Back and better than ever. It's a brand new live Locked On Lions squad show. Jake Riepma, Natalie Kerwin, and Bradford Banta with you for the next hours. Your comments are always welcome. And it is list season. Happy mid-July.
It really is. Any article that comes out, we're going to be here breaking it all down along with all of the NFL executives. To give everyone a little bit of a preview, who thinks Jared Goff is a top 5 quarterback or maybe even top 10? We'll let you know what the executives have to say about that.
Not to, Nat, you're talking about just a little bit of a preview. So Jared Goff, not top 5. Jahmyr Gibbs, top 5. But apparently NFL evaluators still need stronger eyeglasses. So let's dive into the Lions.
One pride. It's the Lions Squad. Everything Detroit Lions every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Motor City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. From the roar of the Lions to the next great chapter, the Lions Squad Show starts now.
Indeed, it does. Happy to have you along, Jake Riepma, alongside 20-year NFL veteran Bradford Banta and Detroit Pistons reporter Natalie Kerwin on today's Locked On Lions squad show. The episode, by the way, brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use that code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi, trade on anything. It's the number one sports podcast platform right here, the Locked On Podcast Network. Love to hear your comments, read your comments rather, and we wouldn't be able to hear them. We'd have to read them, but we will include those throughout the course of the show. And guys, it is list season. Nothing says mid-July like ranking players, top 10 lists, and Bradford Banta as a player. You gotta be rolling your eyes. I'm counting the number of eye rolls you have this episode because I think there's going to be a few.
Okay. Yes. You know what, Jake? I think you're right. You get into these lists and the prognosticators, us included. So, you make these lists. Everybody loves lists because it has the rankings. It has, reasons why. But at the end of the day, it just boils down to wins and losses. It's a team game. It's one of 11 that's out on the field playing. And it's one of, let's say, you say 22, but actually it's 33 that are out on the field, whether it be offense, defense, or special teams. So there's a lot of moving parts, and I can't wait to dive into this list that we have before us that was put out by ESPN ranking the NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah, I feel like this is we're just at that point in the off season right now, guys, where like I was saying, any new
Nat. Come on.
Yeah, come on, Nat. You make a 52-foot putt yesterday and you're not all in on this list. Let's go. I'm gonna brag for you. Our Natalie Kerwin just dominating on the links as she always does. It was the Red Wings outing.
Yeah.
Really?
52-foot putt.
Step by step. Walk us through
Step by step. I watched them go. I had the people in my group measure for me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Insane.
Were you the first one to putt, or did somebody give you the line?
Yeah, I'm less impressed if you weren't 52.
Oh no, it doesn't matter to me. 52 feet, 62 feet. So.
I was not the first. I believe I was the third. And so I got to see the kind of line that they were taking. Yeah. But it was weird because they were like, all right, go towards, a little left of the hole. And I, from where I'm standing, I'm like, you know what? This is so far away. I think I just want to go straight at it and see what happens. And lo and behold, this thing went right in. I didn't take their advice. And I said, look, you guys need to listen to me. So then the rest of the round, they were like, we got to let Kerwin go first. Yeah. Every time we had any ball on the green, they were like, Natalie, you lead us off on the putting right now. And I was like, all right.
What is the moral of this story? And weave it into what we're about to get into.
Oh.
What's the moral of that story that you just told us, Nat?
Don't listen to anyone else. Trust in yourself. So no matter where Jared Goff or anyone are at on these lists, all that matters is what we have to say.
That's well said. Well said. Hey, let's give a shout out to some people tuning in live. We've got Lions Today, aka Micro Mike, who does a tremendous job covering the Detroit Lions as well. Check his stuff out. And I think he wants to know, Nat, was it miniature golf? No. This was the whole shebang. This was the big deal. This was the Detroit Red Wings annual
alumni.
Golf.
Yes, their alumni golf outing over at Oakhurst in Clarkston. So really nice course, really well put together event. I didn't expect myself to show out in any way. Listen, because I'm just, again, I've explained it on here. I'm up and down. I might have a good hole here and a bad hole here. I know everyone says that, but I got a little nervous. You're playing in front of a lot of cool alum and people, and I was one of like 2 females there. So the pressure, I internally felt a lot of pressure, but I showed out on that hole. And then I had a couple good drives too. I was really proud of myself for.
That's
so
big.
A win is a win.
Show me the serious Natalie Kerwin face. Like whenever you're just locked in.
When I get really nervous?
No, just whenever you're locked in.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to start laughing. Hold on. I got to around.
No, Nat. Yeah, there it is. I was just going to say, Nat's got that side door. You know, she's very,
a little smoky.
Yeah, that's right. Very charismatic, very nice, and great energy all the time. But there's a competitive switch that you have.
There is.
I feel like I've seen it in action. But the competitive switch we've all seen in action, Jared Goff. We start with ESPN's top 10 list by position, according to scouts, executives, coaches. And the way the list works is these scouts, coaches, and execs rank players on the scale 1 through 10, and then they average it all out. So let's just go through the top 10 list. No reaction. That way everybody knows the top 10 list. All right. And what we're working with. So it always makes sense to start at number 10, which was Caleb Williams from the Chicago Bears after a 1-year sample size. Okay. Number 9, Jared Goff out of the NFC North. Those are your top 2 quarterbacks from the NFC North that made the list. Number 8, Drake May. 7, Justin Herbert. 6, Dak Prescott. 5, Lamar Jackson. 4, Joe Burrow. 3, reigning MVP Matthew Stafford. 2, Patrick Mahomes. And 1, Josh Allen. So, as we always do, we look through our Lions glasses. Jared Goff, number 9. You guys know I'm a self-proclaimed Jared Goff apologist. I believe he plays the position at an elite level. He upholds the duties of the position. He dissects coverages pre-snap. He fits the ball in tight windows, but because he doesn't run around in circles and spin move around and make the acrobatic plays, I think he is slept on. So I'll start by saying I don't love
slept or slept.
Slept on. That's a new yes, yeah, that's SLUPT. Let me enunciate a little bit better. I get a little fired up here.
I didn't know.
No. That's my Louisiana draw. I don't know. Is that something they'd say in Louisiana? Slept on? No, I don't know if they talk like that. But Jared Goff, top in the NFC North, sure, ahead of Caleb Williams, ahead of whoever the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings is, and ahead of course, Jordan Love. I don't know. I don't care who wants to start. I don't love Goff at number 9. I think that's a little disrespectful, and I have my reasons why. But maybe I don't know. I don't want to speak for you guys.
Go ahead, Nat.
Well,
or you want me to?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't think 9 is fair to him. I think I could see it being more in the 5 or 6 or 7 range. When you look at the numbers, just putting out the stats, he produced 9,193 passing yards and 71 touchdown passes over the past 2 seasons. He might not be the most, as you put it, Jake, acrobatic kind of guy out there, right? That can run all over the field and make plays and be as visually appealing maybe as some of these other quarterbacks that have all these moves or like, oh my God, how did he do that? And how did he get out of that? And this and that. That's never been Jared Goff, though. That's never been his game. So I don't know if that plays a part in it as to why he isn't ranked higher. I mean, I think the quarterbacks above him, we've been able to see, if you look at the list that you just named, a guy like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, great at moving on his feet. Matthew Stafford, for as old as he is now, to be ranked as high as he is. I mean, we've seen it though through a Super Bowl win, and we've seen it, I mean, that way too. I don't know if it's the accolades. Again, I know you said they vote and then it, but I don't know if it's just because of it's who he is. He's more of an IQ guy instead of being like the hot shot that we can see making plays on the field. That's my personal opinion. I think he could be a couple spots higher.
Yeah, look, I understand why he's ninth. Okay, I get it, but but I would argue his production warrants a higher ranking. And I mean, look, all these evaluators, the front office personnel, the scouts, the coaches, this, that, and the other, they all fall in love with the unscripted playmaking, Nat, what you were making reference to. They see the Lamar Jackson escape. They see the Justin Herbert launch ball off platform, and they see Drake May. Drake May make something happen outside of the structure of what is actually supposed to be happening. But look, his strength, Goff's strength, is different. He wins before the ball's even snapped. He identifies the leverage, he understands spacing, he controls protection, and he throws with anticipation. So, yeah, he took a career high or season high quarterback sacks last year, but, he's not an exciting highlight reel. But quarterbacks are paid to produce a winning offense, not to win an obstacle course. It's up to the offensive linemen and the running backs and the tight end to not have him run through an obstacle course. But the concern is legitimate because, I mean, whenever the interior pocket collapses immediately, he doesn't have a chance to escape, let's say like a Josh Allen or Jackson, Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. But what does that mean? That means Detroit just must protect him structurally. In the offensive line, the play action game, the first down efficiency, whenever they're not supporting, that, talking about the rest of the offense, that contributes to Goff not having success. All 11 players are part of the formula, the winning formula. Does Goff need to be perfect in the pocket? No. But he needs a defined launch point and enough interior integrity of the pocket to complete his drop and get back and do what he does best, and that's play with his head. He does a great job of that.
Yeah, I did this exercise on the Daily Show, which I am very proud of myself. I went 13 minutes without mentioning that I've been filling in for our guy Matt Derry the last 2 weeks. And let me just tell you, it's a lot more fun to have dialogue with two other people than it is to just say, hey, here's what I think, and then you're by yourself. So I don't know how Derry does it every day. He does a tremendous job. But it's one point that Micro Mike makes here in the comments is something I argued yesterday, where one of the best player attributes is the availability. You got to be on the field. And as Lions Today, aka Micro Mike, points out, in today's game, it feels like everybody's all, about the mobile quarterback, which we've touched on. And Lamar Jackson ends up playing 9 games a year when Jared Goff plays all 17. And that's a huge deal. And I'm not wishing it on anyone by any means. Injuries are a part of the game, and it's unfortunate, but Patrick Mahomes missing a lot of time with the injury, and some of them, you can't quantify injuries based on this, that, or the other. They just happen. They're a part of the game. And that's unfortunate. And every player is one play away. And, Bradford, as somebody that's played in the league, everybody has that just keen sense of awareness that you're always one play away, unfortunately. But the fact of the matter remains, it's like Goff is punished in this era that Peyton Manning was celebrated for his ability to, identify coverages pre-snap, identify weaknesses, know where the defense is most vulnerable, get through 3 progressions, whatever it is, get through his progressions and fit the ball in a close window and execute an offense the way it was drawn on paper to be executed. And those are all characteristics of the quarterback position I want my guy to have. I want that. And for him to be number 9, the 2 big problems I had were Drake May and Justin Herbert. So let's say, you catapult Goff in front of him. Now we're talking about a Goff versus Dak Prescott comparison. I think both those guys there's similarities in their game and more of an apples to apples comparison of who's that, 6th best quarterback. But at the end of the day, I should say that obviously quarterbacks, guys don't talk about that as much, but I think we're all in agreement that Goff needs to be in that 4, 5, 6 range versus the 7, 8, 9 range.
Yeah, I
say, did I say too much? I didn't even get that wound up. I'm gonna go get my Jared Goff jersey on in a second here and really start talking to the people.
Well, if you go back and you look at the list, you just talk about availability. Caleb Williams, I believe he played all games. Drake May, did he play all games? I know Herbert did. Did Prescott?
This year, yeah. Dak's a fascinating case study because there's the roller coaster ride with Dak. His top of the mountain is an MVP level. There's no doubt about that. But the year he was plagued by injuries, and then one of the years he threw so many interceptions. I think it was 2024. But yeah, it's just it's very much a roller coaster ride. And the other one I took somewhat of an issue with was Joe Burrow because of the emergence early on. And I don't. All right, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna be that guy. Now I'm gonna be that guy. The TikToks, the media, the cool guy Joe, he's smoking cigars and all, and he's cool, so he gets the benefit of the doubt. It's like, yeah, he's cool, but if he's the quarterback of my team, I want him winning games, not and he's been plagued by injuries as well.
I was gonna say he's got the injury bug for sure.
I think cool guy Joe, his window of kind of riding the coattails of the Super Bowl appearance early in his career, like that's fading further and further into the distant memory. But as we love to do on this show, we mix in some comments from Fourth Borough Cage. I don't agree, which we love disagreements. That's what makes this list season so fun, because it's totally subjective. It doesn't matter, but it's July 14th and we can argue about the NFL because that's what we're doing today.
I love it. So let me ask you that. Hey, Nat, let me ask you this. So with Caleb Williams ranked 10th, all right, one spot behind Goff, do you think it's appropriate respect for Goff, or is it just a warning that the voters believe that Williams may pass him soon?
I mean, look, did Caleb Williams have a longer season than Jared Goff ended up having last year? Yes. And led the Bears to a successful season? Yes. But I do think at the end of the day, Jared Goff still deserves to be higher up when you look at the stats that he's been able to produce, just point blank. Look, you think of Caleb Williams' season last year and the amount of fourth quarter comebacks that man was able to have. And I would maybe even, I don't know. Did you guys think Caleb Williams would be further up on that list than 10th?
I don't think Caleb Williams belongs in the top 10. His completion and inability to be accurate and perform the duties of the quarterback position. He was around, I believe it was 30 of 32 qualified quarterbacks with completion.
I'd like to see the full list.
Yeah. Well, they did the honorable mention for quarterbacks that were outside the top 10. And there were several several quarterbacks that I would have ahead of Caleb Williams for that last spot that were honorable mention. I'll pull them up for you right now. One of them being reigning Super Bowl champion Sam Darnold. And I know that's recency bias, this, that, and the other, but Sam Darnold, make no mistake about it, has reinvented his career. So this is what the honorable mention list was for the quarterbacks outside the top 10. Sam Darnold, Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts, rounded out for the quarterbacks that were just missing in that order. And I would have several of those. Brock Purdy, another one. He's a guy that can layer throws with, pinpoint accuracy, and he's relatively mobile for what they ask him to do in San Francisco. And so I think we fell in love. Well, the voters fell in love with Caleb Williams' athleticism and the highlight reel plays and the classic evaluation of evaluating a highlight tape, and you see one dynamic play, but you see 9, poor throws that a top 10 quarterback should be able to make. And maybe that's my bias against Caleb Williams, but that's what I have to say on that, Natalie Kerwin.
But you also, you talk about Brock Purdy, you talk about availability, so that comes into play. He's been plagued over the last couple seasons by missing a few games here and there. I would have to definitely throw in, and no plug for USC, but you'd have to talk about Sam Darnold and just his production over the last 2 seasons. I mean, you're talking about a player that has had, was it 28 regular season wins?
Yeah, that's a good point. He had that,
regular season wins.
Great year in Minnesota. Really good point. I admittedly forgot about that. Yeah, I think I think he might be the most disrespected to not include in the top 10 if you're going. And the parameters of the list are to win right now. It's not past achievement. It's not potential. It's not lifetime statistics. It's to win right now. And Sam Darnold has won right now in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I agree. But he's the only one on this list right now that is the current reigning Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, 100%. Like that
right there kind of makes it disrespectful alone. Like, this man was able to, his journey too, from the Vikings not wanting this man anymore after having a great season with him to then going to the Seahawks and being able to do what we just saw this past year. I mean, that's pretty spectacular in itself, just when you look at what he's been able to overcome in his career. I mean, and when you're talking about just looking at present day, like you said, Jake, not looking at what can this guy do in the future or what's he done necessarily so far in the past. It's more like recency bias, and you should think that he'd be in the forefront of many of these NFL executives' minds for what he's been able to do over just the last couple of years.
Yeah, because the player Darnold is on his 5th team. I mean, you're talking about a first round draft pick, and he's on his 5th team. Granted, he started out on the Jets, and then I believe went to Carolina, and then or San Francisco, Carolina, or Carolina, San Francisco. I can't remember. And then the Vikings, and then eventually made his way over to the Seattle Seahawks. So it's, I think it's an incredible story, and it's definitely worth mentioning. And I would like to know the reason why that player is not in the top 10, considering his last 2 seasons of production. Because, I mean, I go back to availability. Jake, you brought it up as a former player and as a former coach, you don't make the club in the tub. And you have some players that, sorry, I had to throw another one in there, guys.
Oh, I love those.
But you have players that are on this list that did not complete the season or did miss games during last season. And if you're going off of what have you done for me lately, then you have to consider tossing a few of these players off the list, and then including some players that competed in 17 or more games last season.
100%. Well, the mega segment to begin the show that I've done a terrible job of steering the ship on We are coming in on a mega segment, 25 minutes. Good thing there's not a lot of. We only got one keep the lights on ad read for our people today. So we'll do that next, and then we'll change gears to the running back position. That's next on the Locked On Lions Squad Show. Today's episode of the Locked On Lions Squad Show is brought to you by our good friends over at Indeed. When the workplace chaos is stacking up and your inbox is overflowing and you've got a position wide open, well, you need a little bit of help. You need to find the right hire, and Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you find the right hire. They connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and location. So as a result, less time gets spent searching and more time gets spent finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now, right as I'm talking to you. In the minute I've been blabbing, yeah, that's right. Companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. And, when hiring, recruiting, or finding the right person, it can completely change the trajectory of the team. It doesn't have to be the star player. It can be a role player, whatever it is. It's finding the right piece to the puzzle for that specific project. And Indeed, that's what they specialize, because you can spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of the Locked On Lions Squad Show, well, they'll get a sponsored job credit for $75 to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on the Locked On Lions Squad Show. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Back with you, Locked On Lions Squad Show. Make sure you check out the Everydayer Club. That's right. I've done a poor job telling you about the Everydayer Club, but you can follow it at the LockedOnPodcast.com/Everydayer. And what does the Everydayer Club include? Well, access to ad-free audio. How about that, sports fans? Can't beat it. And for a limited time, you can get a 7-day free trial if you sign up right now. Get closer to your team without interruptions. We'll put the link in the show notes as well. Matt Derry does such a tremendous job, and you should get the audio ad-free, because who wants to listen to ads, especially when it's me blabbing on and on and on. But the running back position, guys, Jahmyr Gibbs, the bell cow, the focal point, he's on this list. He's on this list. Where, you might ask? Not one, but two. Number 2 behind Bijan Robinson.
Which by reading this article, they were essentially almost tied for first place votes, which makes me feel better about it, because I think Gibbs could easily be number 1, but I think it came down to the fact that Bijan had more carries. And Gibbs has had to split reps with David Montgomery, who's no longer with the Lions. But I think when you just look at total number of carries and production from that standpoint, Bijan was on the field more than Jahmyr. And I feel like that's what it came down to. But when you look at speed and shiftiness, I mean, they do share a lot of similar qualities, but I'd still take Jahmyr Gibbs any day at what he can do out there, the way he can manipulate a defense. And I mean, the amount of records alone that he broke this past season. And, how many, let's see, he had 18 touchdowns in 2025, the second highest single season total in Lions history, behind his own 20 touchdown season in 2024. This man is breaking his own records. So I'm okay with 2, because it was essentially like 1A and 1B. It felt like between first place votes. So this wasn't nearly as, I wouldn't even put disrespectful on it, but where Jared Goff was at number 9, I'm okay with a little 1A, 1B first place tie between Bijan and Jameer.
I agree with you. Bijan just with more carries and not sharing the backfield with David Montgomery, with another back, a 1A, 1B type back. You look at Gibbs's vision and his pacing, his acceleration, ability to defeat pursuit angles. He's able to be a great receiver, durability with the inside and outside running. I tell you this, having worked on defense, he changes defensive geometry. So it just because of how many positions he can play and how quick and how fast this player is. He changes tackling angles. He changes the way that you call the game because you have to account for this player. And I'm just hoping that Petzing uses Gibbs in a slot type position or not just primarily in the backfield, and just get him out there, get him the ball quickly, whether it be, just quick routes or something like that, or even put him on a 9 route. Let's see what he can do. Match him up. I can, all right, story time. So I can remember we had this one play, and it was in Indianapolis, and we were playing the Cleveland Browns. And oh gosh, it was mid-90s, let's just say somewhere around there. And we knew we had Marshall Faulk in the backfield. And we knew if it was man-to-man, we knew it was going to be a touchdown. Just this one play, because he was going to be matched up. We were hoping that Pepper Johnson was going to be the linebacker that was going to be matched up on him. And Pepper Johnson, he had played a long time with the Giants, went over to the Browns, and and how do I term it? He was starting to leak a little bit of oil. So he was, he was getting up there in years in his career, and so Marshall shifted from the backfield to a number 1 receiver spot. So he was the widest receiver out on the field. We had the X receiver shift in to a slot type position to the number 2 position, and then Marshall shifted over, and he was the number 1 receiver. And Pepper ran out there with him. And look, and I'll admit it, I was on the sidelines, but I knew the play call. And we were probably, I would say we were probably on the minus 30-yard line. And so I started warming up to get ready for PAT. And we were on the minus 30-yard line because I saw it happen. And I was able to get like 1 or 2 snaps in before, because I don't know if Jim was the quarterback, Jim Harbaugh. I don't know if he was the quarterback. I forgot who it was, but I knew it was going to be a touchdown. Marshall gave him a little juke off the line because Pepper came up. He was probably playing about 3-4 yards off, but we were just like, man, this is a no-brainer. He gave him just a little bit. Safety, for some reason, I think either stayed in the middle of the field or went to the opposite side of the field. If I was Pepper, I would have a few words for that safety or the defensive coordinator for being like, dude, why didn't you give me any help?
Yeah.
But it was, 10 seconds later, we were sitting there in the end zone, with Marshall having his hands on the ball. So it was, that's the type of mismatch that you look for whenever you have a Jahmyr Gibbs type back. And that's one thing that Jared Goff, our number 9 ranked quarterback in the league, which is debatable, which we have been debating, looks for. And he looks for those mismatches. And whenever he finds it, he tries to take advantage of it. And that's why having, let's just say, a Jahmyr Gibbs or an Amon-Ra in the slot type position, you get matched up on linebackers. You got to take advantage of that, especially if you don't have safety help over the top. Oh my gosh. I mean, you're looking for 6 points or more. You're looking for chunk plays whenever that happens. So it's the 1A, 1B. And the only reason was because David Montgomery was in the same backfield, and they used it to spell Jahmyr Gibbs. And he took the reins last year. And he's like, put it on my back. And that's what the Lions did. So and it's unfortunate. There were some plays that just didn't happen to extend drives. And, they ended up 9-8 and not making the playoffs. But with Petzing's offense, trying to take advantage of, everything that's available to him, I believe that the Lions are setting themselves up for success.
No, I couldn't agree more. And that I think we saw some glimpses of that creativity offensively in that Thursday night game against the Cowboys later in the season, using Gibbs in the passing game. But going back to this list, and by the way, I think as a player of, if you're on the sidelines and you're just, it's the play call, like, can you imagine if it was Jim Harbaugh, whoever the quarterback was, just how much they had to be licking their chops, like, oh, we got him.
Yeah. I couldn't wait to get the ball out of my hands if I was playing quarterback and I saw that matchup.
Right. But the problem, so going back to this list, the parameters of the selection process where you give your ranking, in the top 10, the part where Jahmyr Gibbs is disrespected, and I said this on the Daily Show as well, you can see the lowest ranking by someone on this list. Someone ranked Jahmyr Gibbs as the 8th best back in the National Football League. And that's what contributed. That's why it was a 1A, 1B ordeal where Bijan Robinson slightly edged out Jahmyr Gibbs, because the lowest Robinson was ranked, I got to double check, I'm sure it was the lowest he was ranked was 2nd. So everyone thinks he's either 1 or 2, which sure. But who thinks Jahmyr Gibbs is the 8th best running back in the National Football League?
Absolutely nobody.
Well, here's the thing. Look, I know it's legal in Michigan, but this person, whoever ranked him 8th, must travel the I-94 corridor on a consistent basis, and then a freaking in just like a chimney stack coming out of their window, because and I don't know if we can tout it or whatever, but it is legal in Michigan. I want to know what they're smoking. Yeah, because you got to be crazy.
Yeah, I want to know who it was. I want to know which NFL coach, scout, GM, exec, whoever it was.
I'm willing to bet it's an NFC North.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But wouldn't it be, coach, if it was an NFC North, wouldn't they have a little bit more respect, awareness, acknowledgement of, because they play the Lions twice a year?
They see them more. Yeah.
And they don't want their player to get ranked way, way lower than, Jahmyr Gibbs.
That was the biggest problem I had. Yeah. Which terrible job of hosting by me. I just went right into it. We didn't get into the actual list. So it's Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, and then number 3, Saquon Barkley, 4, Christian McCaffrey, 5, Jonathan Taylor, 6, Derrick Henry, 7, James Cook, 8, Devon Achane, 9, Kenneth Walker, shout out Michigan State, there you go, Nat, and 10, Breece Hall. Your honorable mentions, Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Quinshon Judkins, and a bunch of others that received votes that we won't get into. So I think with the running back, it's not as hotly debated as the quarterback position. I'm fine with the top 5. Just think Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm fine with, honestly, he got edged out by Bijan Robinson, but I'm not fine with someone saying he's the 8th best running back in the NFL.
No. And also, not just because I'm a Michigan State alum, but kind of the same reason we felt like Sam Darnold should have been higher on, because where did he end up being ranked?
Sam Darnold or Kenneth Walker?
Yeah. Well, Sam Darnold. Well, he wasn't even in the top 10, but I don't know where
he was the first honorable mention, and they said the honorable mentions were the closest to being in the top. They listed it in order. So he was, I guess that would equate to number 11.
Okay. I think Kenneth Walker, for a similar reason, being in the Super Bowl last year and just what he was able to do, should be higher as well.
I agree, because if you're going to downgrade, Jahmyr Gibbs because of David Montgomery, then let's say they possibly downgraded Kenneth Walker the 3rd because of Zach Charbonnet.
Mm.
Because Zach Charbonnet, he played the entire season, and then unfortunately he got injured and was not able to play. Yeah, he got injured late. So I'm with you. There's a reason that the Kansas City Chiefs went after him.
Yep.
And I think we're going to see why in the upcoming season.
All right, two mega segments in the books. How about that for switching it up? We're going off schedule, off script, off making some off platform segment lengths here. So hopefully the NFL scouts and execs appreciate that out of us, and we'll get really high rate rankings. Judging by Bradford's look, that was a little bit of a stretch. I get it. Okay, I'm doing my best here. Back in a second.
All right. We're back.
We're back. Just like that. All right. Let's get our Detroit Lions glasses on and just look at the Honolulu blue and silver and talk a little bit about these rookies. This rookie class, and where we are now before training camp. We're in that lull that's been said time and time again, but some of the position battles that involve rookies are going to be really interesting to see play out. I think immediately you can go to the first round pick with Blake Miller and Larry Borom. On the defensive side of the ball, Keith Abney in a position group that needs some help and needs somebody to step up. Those are the first two directions I go. Derek Moore having, the ability to complement Aiden Hutchinson's another one. Where do you guys look at this rookie class as far as potential immediate impact players and maybe the confidence you have in some individuals?
Would you like for me to go or you go, Nat? Either or.
Doesn't
all right.
matter.
I'll take the stick. Just stick. Okay, I got it. So we're on the 4x400 here. All right. So no, I look at it as, so I look for Blake Miller to come in and contribute immediately. I know there's going to be a competition, but his playing experience at the college level, obviously a different experience you're going to have in the NFL level because you're going to be facing bigger, faster, stronger, smarter players than you would at the college level. They're going to prepare for you more, and it's a different chess match. You could possibly say that they're playing checkers in college and they're going to be playing chess in the NFL, trying to set him up. And all these defensive ends that are be going against Blake Miller to begin with, they're going to be going back and watching college film. They're going to be studying the preseason film of him, and they're going to come in and they're going to test him just with different stunts, different moves, and see what he bites on. And if he bites on it, see if he learns from that and recovers. So there's going to be a learning curve, just like we had with Tate Ratledge last season, but it's got to be a shorter learning curve for Blake Miller, just with everything that's on the line for this season to get back into the playoffs. Derek Moore. I think that Derek is going to come in. He's going to run into a similar type situation as Blake Miller, but his learning curve isn't going to be as long, so to speak. His is more of a power game, and he's going to catch some people off guard, and he's going to have, I would say, some early success, and then it'll level out, and then he'll start to come back around towards the end of the season. That's just my personal thoughts and feelings. Jimmy Rolder, he's going to be in line to play that third linebacker in base type situations, but an immediate contributor on special teams. He'll be a four-core guy if he's not starting on defense at that time. Keith Abney, very similar situation, where he's going to come in. He's going to compete for that slot corner type position, just because Calvin Shepard is going to be playing more nickel, which means 4 down, 2 linebacker, 5 DBs, rather than base defense, which is 4 down, 3 linebackers and 4 DBs. Kendrick Law, his season's done. And then Gil Howard and West, it's TBD on these players. Will they come in and contribute? There's a possibility that they may, but you could possibly see one of these two players make the active roster or be put on practice squad to develop for later use down the road. So that's just my brief synopsis, trying to fit it all in these in my 2 minutes.
Yeah, we have mini segments now because we had mega segments to begin.
I think of all the rookies, especially hearing you talk on multiple episodes now, Bradford, about Derek Moore. I'm really excited to see the impact he can make. And I personally think he may make the biggest impact of that group. One, I think, he doesn't need to go out there and be the guy, because that's Aiden Hutchinson and what he's going to do. He gets all of the attention, but I think what Derek Moore has to do is just come in and be a guy that can create pressure. He can take some of that attention away from Hutch and give him some relief. I think that's where the biggest impact from him will be made. And I think playing alongside a guy like Hutch will be really helpful. Obviously, you got 2 Michigan men in there. But I think, just being able to just take some weight off of Hutch's shoulders and be someone that can come in and be a sponge and want to listen and learn. And, you've seen it up close, BB. I think that, he doesn't have to come in and produce have a crazy 10 sack season or anything like that. I think he's
nice.
Just got to be able to, would be very nice. But I think if he's just someone that can consistently create pressure and help with that balance, I think that's going to pay dividends. So I'm excited to see, the kind of impact that he can make. He's someone that I have high on my list.
Yeah, I think the Lions roster as a whole this year, it is, I wouldn't say it's needing a facelift from rookies in a lot of sense, but there are more opportunities there than the previous years, where it felt like, okay, the Lions have one of the deeper rosters at every position, and you're looking for those rookies to be more complementary pieces. And I still think that's a part of the conversation for any rookie, and finding their footing and knowing exactly how to maximize their value in their specific role. But there's guys in this rookie class for the Detroit Lions who their role could be everyday starters and maximizing that. So, and as you've talked to a couple of times, Bradford, that adjustment period, it looks different for every player. It's an individual thing. But this show would not be complete without some of the best comments that we appreciate. And I guess the moral of this entire episode is Jake the Caleb hater. And you know what? I'm not even going to try to deflect that. Silly me, would love to see my quarterback complete more than 52% of his passes as a top 10 quarterback. But yeah, if I'm the Caleb hater. And look, that's what makes this fun. He can put out another great season, and with Ben Johnson, he's certainly gunning for the opportunity to do that, and I wouldn't be surprised. But as of now, yes, I am a Caleb Williams hater. So there you have it.
Jared Goff lover, Caleb Williams hater. We'll talk about Brian Branch at any given moment.
Yeah. Just a wild card. Just a wild card here. You never know what you're gonna get. All right, let's do the final segment here. We got one segment left. Don't go in our Locked On Lions squad show. All right, closing it out in style, and appreciate everybody tuning in as always. Your comments always welcome. Feedback, let us know. But we've talked about the rookies. How about the position groups? I want to do a little good, a little bad, maybe a little positive, a little negative. The position group you've got the most confidence in. The position group a little bit worried about. I think we're probably all on the same page for that position group we're a little bit worried about. Should we just get that out of the way right away?
Might as well.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. All right, Nat, lead us off. What position group are you most concerned about, Natalie Kerwin?
Let me do some thinking. Well, the two guys that headline that group may not be projected to come back until a few months into the season. So let's go with the safety group. How about that? Are we all on the same page?
Yes. You guys, I know we've joked around with this before, but I had no idea that this was a part of the Locked On StreamYard assets, we'll call them. So I don't know if this even works, but you can hear it. All right.
Wait, what was it? I didn't.
You couldn't hear it? It's the
No.
applause.
It's clapping applause.
Oh, yeah, I think it was really quiet.
All right. How about this one? More sounds. All right. This is scary, guys. Drum roll.
Producer's
bongo.
going crazy.
Why can't I hear any of them? Because I'm on an iPad.
It is. Oh man. You know, the rest of the show, this is not good. I had no idea that we had this. Yeah.
You guys just keep jamming out over there. I'm just gonna read your facial expressions.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. I want one more drum roll. Natalie Kerwin of the Locked On Lions Squad Show believes this position group is the biggest red flag.
Natalie, you're up.
Safety group. Jake can't handle it.
How did I not know all of these existed? Oh man, I feel like I want to go back and redo.
How did you just discover this within the last couple minutes?
You know what Jake just opened? Just Pandora's box to a little kid at Christmas, and we're gonna have one show where Jake is just gonna be punching buttons, and we're gonna be in the middle of talking, and he's
middle of a sentence.
Random. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is going back to my producing days. You know how I started in this silly industry. Overnight shows at 97 The Ticket, and you got to do anything you can to stay awake. But yeah, there's a little more section under the background. I never knew you could click more, and then all of a sudden, sounds, music. I mean, this is just you talk about Pandora's
Kid in a candy store right here.
Right. I know.
A little mood music.
Oh my God. Here.
And this, folks, is when it goes off the rails.
I'll
a whistle?
Enough. All right. I'm reeling this shit back for the next 6 minutes here. I'm also concerned with
TBD.
I'm not so sure you can, but we'll see.
We got this, guys. Come on. I'm concerned with the Lions secondary. The corners. I think aside from DJ Reed, you got a lot of question marks. Yeah, Rock Ya-Sin, I think, is a name of familiarity, but can Ennis Rakestraw stay healthy? What can Keith Abney bring as a rookie? And you know, I'm going to put my football guy hat on and say, if the defensive line can't provide any pressure, and the quarterbacks are just too good in this league to be able to dice up a secondary that has holes in it. So I'm very, very concerned about that.
And I just think it's tough because on paper, safety and corner, I mean, just the secondary room was probably viewed to be as one of the more stronger points of this team before Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph got hurt. Terrion Arnold before he got cut. I mean, I know he had his own battles he was fighting a little bit too, even just as a player, but still, you just thought that whole room pre-injuries and legal issues was going to be okay. And now, you know, you're out quite a few playmakers who can change the game. And also now you're depending on some younger rookies maybe to step up in those spots. Can, you know, Rock Ya-Sin handle more of a starter role? DJ Reed, he's not considered a young buck. I mean, so there are a lot of question marks surrounding some of these guys heading into the season. So, and we've talked about it at length, but the secondary is going to be Calvin Shepard will have some challenges on his hands for sure.
All right, group we're the most confident in. I started last time, so BB, let's go. Bradford to Nat to me. Group you're the most confident
that we're most confident in. Oh, I mean, hands down, it's quarterback.
Yeah, Jared.
I mean, that's yeah. I mean, so it's. I mean, he's a proven performer, and he's withstood the test of time. We just need to keep him upright. We need to keep his uniform clean throughout the game, and Jared is going to produce for the Detroit Lions like he has in the past, and he's done that, and he's shown that over with various offenses. You know, he's done it with McVay out in LA. He did it with Ben Johnson. He did it with the hybrid offense that they had last year. And then you look for Drew Petzing to bring out the best in him. And they've already established, it seems to me anyway, that they've already established a good relationship between Petzing and Goff. And that's what you want to have with your offensive coordinator and your quarterback. So that, you know, that's mine is the quarterback.
I'll say my answer is the running back room. We just got done talking about Jahmyr Gibbs essentially being the best in the game of football, right next to Bijan Robinson. One of the most explosive players in the game, one of the best. I mean, just you see what he can do as a receiver in space, as a runner. You can just go down the list. I mean, he is the Lions' best offensive weapon that they have. And then you add in Isaiah Pacheco, which we don't know how it's going to pan out, but we can see his physical style, the winning experience he's had in Kansas City. I think you add that on, and I can see a pretty complete backfield with those two, or at least I hope it turns out that way. But I think I feel really confident in that running back room.
This is great. This is great dialogue because I had both of those on my list, but I had the wide receiver room, and I'm going to expand it to the pass catchers so I can include Sam Laporta and the tight end group. We don't know what we'll get out of Tyler Conklin and Brock Wright health-wise, but every tight end, I think, based on the way the offense is expected to look, can be impact players from a pass catching standpoint, assuming the run game does its job and is effective. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, J-Mo to take the top off, and I'm expecting big things from Isaac Tesla in year 2 to make that jump from year 1 to year 2. So there's a lot of confidence in that wide receiver room to be what makes them most effective. And I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is a great example of that. He's not the best deep threat. He just finds ways to impact the game and find where the holes in the defense are and where they're most vulnerable at. And that deep intermediate passing game between him and Goff that has been so effective over the course of Amon-Ra's entire career. I mean, he has just oozed production from the time he put a Lions uniform on. So I'm looking forward. I think we all looking forward to football. I mean, enough of these lists, enough of these concern levels. Let's just talk ball.
Can I build on that just a little bit, Jake?
Yeah, you absolutely.
What is a name in the wide receiver group that we have not really mentioned all off season? J-Mo.
Okay, that's what.
J-Mo? Okay, I was gonna say trick question.
No, not a trick question. It's just it's a mere fact. Which I think it's fantastic.
Yes, for all the right reasons.
For all the right reasons.
Right.
And you just hope he's taking strides to just build off of what he did to improve last year. And become a better hands catcher. Catch the intermediate to deep passes. Just becoming just more consistent and drop with the ball being thrown in your catch radius, come down with it and just come up with that big play when the time when the time calls for it.
Absolutely. I'm mad at myself because the first thing I thought of was, well, we've had some off the field issues with former Lion, now Terrion Arnold, former Lion.
Right.
And that was one thing, like we talked about, with just learning to be a pro. And I think JMO's making strides to do exactly that. But we're out of time for today. Another fantastic show in the books. Make sure you check out Locked On Lions with Matt Derry most of the time, but with me for another couple of days, filling in here. Bradford Banta, Natalie Kerwin. Let's go last words and get us on out of here.
Let's see what lists we got to break down next week. It's a little preview for a week from now. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what next week will entail.
Who knows?
Who knows what'll come out in the next week?
Maybe some more sound effects like this one.
What you got?
Did he? Oh, he did hear.
I'm so upset that I can't hear any of these.
Hey.
We're raging.
Yeah. Yeah, the music's not as good, but yeah, we're having fun. We're having fun here. All right, for the 20-year NFL veteran Bradford Banta, Detroit Pistons reporter Natalie Kerwin, my name is Jake Riepma. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you like today's video. Go ahead and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time on the Locked On Lions Squad Show. Goodbye.